Devy Planet, welcome into another episode of Devy Planet. I'm S. Romero. My co-host Spencer is taking a well-deserved vacation, but no worries. I brought an expert from the Devy Dojo, my guy Dustin, and I know me and Spencer have talked about it multiple times. We had a league of record that we decided to take the best people from the Devy Planet to battle against the best people from the Devy Dojo. So Dustin got his guys, I got my guys, and we put together a league where it's the ultimate battle. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. We're going to break down some rosters, tell you where we have them ranked, and give y'all some Devy insight. All that and a lot more on this episode of the Devy Planet.
Legends last, two channels in the zone where the stars get made, where the field gets hot and the stakes get blazed. We got Devy Planet, where they launch with force, and Devy Dojo, where the grind stays course. Astronauts versus samurais in a scholar's war. You never seen Devy break down like this before. We up in the cosmos, mind on the rise, scouting them rockets, future in their eyes. From the west to the east, our tape don't lie. Devy Planet got the knowledge that'll touch the sky. Got that vision like a scout with a telescope, dropping gems on these prospects, real Devy hope. It's the Devy Duel Dojo versus Planet, breaking down the game, sharp minds going at it.
Devy Planet. I'm S. Romero with my co-host for the day, Dustin of the Devy Dojo. Dustin, how you doing today?
Hey, SC, man, I'm doing good. And that intro got me hyped, man. That was some incredible stuff. Let's go.
Sir. Had to give a special intro for the Devy Duel, the league of record for the Devy Planet. Then we get some guys from the dojo in or other members of the Devy Planet in. We'll definitely have to drop that intro. But glad you liked it. Hope our viewers liked it. And yeah, man, we're here to talk about our rosters. This is something we haven't done for the public yet as far as reveal our full rosters for this league. And I'm very excited because we were talking about it in the green room before. Most of our Devy leagues are going to be 5, maybe 7-man rosters. We had rosters of 15 or more, but no more than 20. So we have some deep rosters. And when we were drafting, it got to a point where I'm learning some guys. I'm like, all right, I need to get these guys on my radars. Because, again, it's a 12-man league. We have experts on both sides, phenomenal guys that know how to compete. And it's really, again, just to figure out who can win the ultimate Devy battle, right? Before we get into it, any thoughts during the draft process or when we were doing such a deep draft? Because we actually combined it with our pro and Devy ones. Any thought process during that whole time?
Yeah, man. What I really enjoyed about it was just the different and varying strategies that we saw. Like I myself really prioritized the NFL side and tried to supplement it with my Devy guys a little later on. But then you saw those guys that were taking those Devy assets much higher, yourself included, right?
Yeah,
I believe you took Jeremiah Smith.
102. Let's go. Yes, sir.
Right. So, I mean, that kind of threw me for a loop. I'm not going to lie. There were some guys going earlier than I had anticipated. And then, of course, later on, as with it being so deep, with a maximum of 20 Devy guys, like you said, I was like, who's that guy? I got to look him up on 247 real quick, put me on a little bit. So it was just a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed this league so much.
For sure. No, I agree. And yeah, as soon because just for the viewers, we ended up doing a Devy Dojo had the 101, then it went to Devy Planet, Devy Dojo 103, so forth. So it was alternate. So it wasn't anyone stuck together. We made sure it was alternate the whole way. So each division had their guys they could take, and once the 102 was up for grabs, I was able to grab that, and I actually told my guys at Devy Planet, it's like, I'm taking Jeremiah. Like, I'm gonna make sure we lock the top Devy asset in. I'm not gonna yes, right, my NFL team could do what they gotta do, but let's go with that. What we're gonna do in today's episode, we're gonna show the rosters for everyone. We're not gonna talk about every player. We're gonna pull away one or two player, maybe someone we like, someone that has some value, or maybe someone that we're fading as well, but really kind of break down our thoughts. Again, this was at the beginning of the season, and as y'all know, Devy values transition heavily throughout the season. I mean, I've been talking to Spencer back and forth. Before the season started, we were talking about Nussmar, Klubnik, even Levette being possible top 10 NFL picks, possible top 3 rookie picks in the 2026 class. Now we're talking about Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, Ty Simpson. Everything can change during the Devy world, and that's where we're really going to discuss some of these values, as some of the guys that we took later have more value than some of the guys we took before them. So without further ado, let's go ahead. We'll start with my team. I'll be the guinea pig here. But my team here consists of, as y'all see, Jeremiah Smith, Derry Hill, Mark Fletcher, Josiah Trader, Jerome Bettis Jr. Different guys you can see there, from running backs all the way to tight ends. Yes, when you get this deep, tight ends do become something too. So we end up taking it. First guy I want to highlight is going to be Eli Holston. And I want to say that because when y'all actually came on, Dustin, you and Chris, your Shifu there at the Devy Dojo, came on with me and Spencer. We did a this or that episode, and I actually talked about Eli Holston versus Keelan Russell. That was my this or that. And I said I would
Yes,
take
sir.
Eli Holston over Keelan Russell. I was like, Eli Holston's the next big Roethlisberger. He's going to be the next great thing. Well, he got benched for a freshman. And this is me saying I was wrong, right? Like we do make those mistakes. It
Right.
does happen. There was a lot of things I really liked about Eli Holston, but he wasn't necessarily winning or pushing the ball down as much as I thought he would have in Pittsburgh, and thus he got benched for a freshman. And the freshman's actually playing a little bit better than what he was doing as well, especially with some of the weapons that Eli had as well. So for that, I don't recall exactly where I took him, but I was so high on him, and I'm high on Rayola. Carson Beck, I took at a value, but being a quarterback that I was super high on, to me, he's not a dead asset, and that really dropped when I was ranking, the Devy Planet's rosters. That dropped my roster heavily because that's a dead asset that I can't get over. Any thoughts on Eli Holston?
No, not really. Just, I mean, the freshman looks good, man.
Yeah.
And I wasn't nearly as high on Holston as you were,
Mhm.
but I did not anticipate this, man. And it goes to speak to the volatility specifically at the quarterback position in Devy. There at the
Right.
dojo, we compare them to water, just
Mhm.
the ever-changing tidal currents of value that you're going to see.
Right.
And I think that's a prime example. And when we get to
Okay.
my roster, man, I
Okay.
got a couple too that, definitely
sure.
took a nosedive in value.
For sure. No, and yeah, I agree. I mean, just like Water, hopefully he can adjust like Water does if he goes to a new environment. That's, we'll wait to see. I do want to highlight, if y'all notice, I went really heavy with wide receiver. That was kind of my bread and butter. I was like, I'm going to try to be the wide receiver you there.
I have a few I love there. I have a few I love there, man.
I want to highlight Dallas Wilson because Dallas Wilson hasn't been there all season, but I'm really battling with myself on how high I want to put Dallas Wilson because in the showcase that he has in the past 2 weeks, he's looked really good, and the Florida offense in general has looked different with him on the field. And I'm really thinking, like, I feel like I could put him behind Jeremiah Smith. I haven't made that jump quite yet, but I feel if we had seen him all season, we'd be talking about it. We've only seen him in 2 games, so we still got to see a lot more. But I really like what I'm seeing. What we saw in his freshman tape is exactly what we're seeing now in his college tape. It's really transitioning. And again, he's someone that I feel is just going to be an awesome alpha wide receiver at the college level and at the next level. And this is just a freshman that we're talking about. And I'm stoked to see what the limit's going to be for him. Mad that he didn't go to Oregon because that was an option for him, but he's still looking nice there as well.
Yeah, that was a guy that I was going to highlight on yours too, man. Dallas Wilson, just, I mean, he's as advertised, right? The big hype that he was receiving after the spring game, 10 catches, 195 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that spring game. And of course, the foot injury really derailed him. But he went out in that first game against Texas, man, and he looked like an alpha straight up. And so I'm right with you, man. I want to aggressively rank him, but let's give the young pup some time for sure.
Right. And, you brought up the Texas game. He did a play that was very similar to Ryan Williams' play against Georgia as well, where he caught the ball, broke off a couple tackles, and just wouldn't go down, ran it on the sideline and got the touchdown. And that kind of just sparked me in the whole, all right, if we're going to rank Ryan Williams, I know Ryan Williams had a great freshman season, but it's like, I like Dallas Wilson prototypical size a little bit better. I kind of like Dallas Wilson's movement a little better. So I agree. We got to pump the brakes. Freshman, you can't get that freshman hype as we have rookie hype too. So got to pump the brakes, but I am stoked to see what he can do. And then, you can look at my roster. There's a bunch of dead assets on there that I feel like I'm dropping before the season's over so I can free up some Devy space as well. I will say we didn't take any high school players. I'm in some leagues where we had taken some. We wait on that because we want to make sure our pool is plentiful as well. So we didn't take any high school, but there's some guys coming in this next class that I'm excited for. I do have mine. Let me just see here. Right now, I'll go through the full power rankings at the end. I have my roster rank as the 4th best in the actual Devy Planet. So there are some guys we'll talk about that I feel are really strong when it comes to Devy assets. So we'll see how they are. But let's move on to the dojo, and we're going to start with your team here, Dustin. Talk about some of the players you want to highlight or just players on the roster that you see here.
Yeah, obviously anybody who knows me knows that Isaac Brown is one of my guys. Just the shiftiness and elusiveness that he really displays. That's the type of back specifically for fantasy that I'm always going to chase. I'm always going to want those guys that are going to provide those spike weeks. And he's a guy that, you know, before the injury, I believe he was leading the league in breakaway yardage. Like that's all of his game. You know, he just needs one carry to take it to the house, and that's just gold in fantasy. But for this specific exercise, the guy that I really liked in this, and my roster, it did not go according to plan, right? My strategy, like I said, was kind of to really attack the NFL side and get that as a contender offset, and then get my guys coming in. And I was looking at it through the offseason, man. I was like, man, my roster's looking good. And
right. Same.
it has definitely nosedived a bit. So the guy that I really love on here is Jeremy Bernard.
Love it. Okay.
And the reason I chose him is because I selected Jeremy Bernard in the 31st round of this combined draft. So towards the end, and now the return on investment that I'm getting on this guy, who's looking like, as of right now, he's going to be like a early day 2, maybe even potentially a late first round pick.
For sure.
I mean, he's running in a Kalen DeBoer, Alabama offense that's doing some real intricate NFL level stuff. So when I'm predicting the translation to the NFL, I see these things and the little nuances, the hip drops, right? The breaking off at the top of his route stem, all that NFL pro level stuff. I'm like, man, I'm pretty excited. And just the rapport that he's already shown with a guy like Ty Simpson. And, you know, they're giving him some carries. I believe they've had him try to pass a few times. So like, if we can get that guy to a creative NFL offensive coordinator, then I think he's going to be a guy that maybe the general dynasty public wasn't really aware of him, but then he's going to pop off and they'll be like, oh, where did this guy come from? Oh, he's a Bama wide receiver, of course.
Right.
You know, he's playing there with Ryan Williams and he looks like he belongs. So
for sure,
for the value that I got on him, that's why he was my selection here. You know, I do like some of my freshmen there, you know, Lottie Brooks there again at Bama. When you saw Ryan Williams, when he went down, I mean, he didn't have any gaudy numbers, but he was truly the guy, and he's working it out in the slot. And I think next year, when Jeremy Bernard leaves, you're really going to see an uptick in his production.
For sure.
But a guy, you know, we got to talk about some negatives to it, and I got a few there. But Klubnik was really the one that hurt the most. Cade Klubnik, I think you, me, Spencer, Chris, I think we all agreed that he was early in the offseason. He was in contention for that first overall pick in the NFL draft. And look, he's a dead asset in my mind. Like when I was grading my roster through the rubric that you provided, I had to score him a -1 as a dead asset because I truly, like, I don't know how you feel, SC, but I don't view him as a Devy guy anymore.
Yeah, no, it's even harder to like look at him as a day 2 pick. Like I think he's a day 3 pick. And, you know, I actually told someone recently, like with how volatile this quarterback class is, it's a deep class. But I'm also at the point where, like, when it comes to the first round of 2026 class that Klubnik is in, I don't know if I'm taking quarterbacks in the first round, like, because I know Klubnik's going to be passing maybe in the third, Nussmeier maybe in the third round. We may have a lot of guys that drop to the third where it's like, I'll take the shot on these guys and get my top position players here just because I don't really know how it's going to play out for these guys. I still think some of them have the tangibles to be NFL caliber quarterbacks, but I'm not going to use that heavy draft capital to go out there and get them, and Klubnik is one of those. I mean, I was on the DGen saying Klubnik's going to throw for 50 TDs and lead the nation in passing yards. With the wide receiver core he had, I was like, this is going to happen, and he's nowhere close, you know? So
we were all projecting that linear progression from, right? Like there was a pocket in time where Klubnik looked last year like he had put it all together. You know, third year in the Garrett Riley offensive system, we were like, okay, it's up now. Senior year, his draft eligible year. Let's go get it. And we just never saw it. It's like he regressed. And like everything that he had worked towards, you know, he was talking about watching Joe Burrow film in the offseason. I don't know what film he was watching, but it was the wrong one because that looked nothing like Joe.
It was Joe Burrow at Ohio State, probably. It's like, you
know,
so,
there you go.
No, you know, just to highlight, like I was with Holsey, you know, the Klubnik's one. I feel a lot of if you're in Devy leagues, a lot of people took him heavy. I mean, in the Tadpole Bowl, I took him as my first round pick. You know, and that definitely hurts. So I mean, you have we're gonna take the L's, and that's part of it. I mean, you know, a lot of it can happen. You talked about your freshman. I want to highlight Bo Jackson because when you hit on the freshman, that's always great to hit on. Bo Jackson, I didn't think he was a come in as enormous. I actually have a guy with one of my guys in one of my leagues, RMG, where I was like, I'm not as heavy on Bo as other people are. Like, I think James People is going to be the guy there, and he's got to fight for it. And I was like, it's not really going to happen. Again, I was wrong. Bo Jackson's out here balling, and honestly, he looks like he's the top freshman running back, where when it comes to running backs again, freshman, a lot of years to happen. But if he continues this trajectory, you hit. When you could get an RB1 like that, especially in Ohio State offense, it just goes out, beating out someone that's been there in James People, beating out a transfer running back that has experience in Donaldson, and just being their guy, that says a lot just moving forward. So absolutely love that Bo Jackson pick. That was great for you as well. RJ Maryland too. I love RJ Maryland, but man, he needs to be healthy.
Yeah.
I think he'd be great if he's healthy. Let's go on to our next one here. We're going to talk about my guy, my co-host Spencer's in the Devy Planet here. Phenomenal. I'll say it right now. I have him ranked as the best Devy roster overall and for the planet. I just think he hit. There's a lot of players that he took that I was like, I don't know so much, but let's talk about a few of them. I don't like talking about this guy, but I'm going to because I know this is Spencer's guy. That's Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State. For people that watch, I went to Sam Houston State. North Dakota State beat us 3 times in the championship. I don't like North Dakota State, but you got to respect the talent, and Bryce Lance has that talent. Spencer has been very bullish on him, and rightfully so. This is a guy that could be drafted day 2. I don't think he's going to hit his brother's numbers as top 5, top 3 overall pick, but he could be drafted as day 2. He has the tangibles. This is a 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver, has the awareness to stay on the field, stay in bounds, has the catching radius to be that reliable target in the end zone for a quarterback, and the aggressiveness to bring it down and also make plays after the catch. This was a fantastic pick, and the more I watch the film, thanks to Spencer, the more I'm like, man, if you were in North Dakota State, I'd roster you more, but I just can't pull it. But Bryce Lance is a great pick, and I think it was phenomenal, especially when we think of guys. When it comes to Devy, a lot of us transition to the FBS and the the Power 4 and the G5. Bryce Lance at North Dakota State, that's the FCS school. A lot of people don't know about it, and he was on the money. This looks like a great asset here. Any thoughts there?
It's funny you highlighted him here because he was actually my pick for the fade on his team. And it was tough to choose from. And it really feels like I'm nitpicking here because, as you alluded to, he has a tremendous Devy roster. So the only reason I'm really fading him here is just because he is FCS. I'm not sure if how dominant he's been there would actually translate to Sundays. And as you said, again, he's definitely not going to be 3rd overall pick like his brother Trey was. But I mean, like you said, when you put on the film at that level, he is very dominant, and there's a lot of things to like. So I don't hate the pick. It's just for the purpose of this exercise, I did have to pick someone. But somebody that I absolutely loved on here, and he's hashtag one of my guys right here, is freshman quarterback Malik Washington. Right,
that was my next guy. Great pick.
Oh yeah. He's just he's my most owned freshman actually, and so. I gotta say, good pick, Spencer. But he's got the cannon for an arm. I love that he can already play under center. Like you don't see typically these guys coming out of high school and be able to run a true pro style offense. You see him hitting the play action and just being able to hit the wide receivers deep. I got on my notes here that he has 12 big time throws, over 1,700 yards and 11 touchdowns. That's ranked 2nd among all freshman starting quarterbacks, 2nd only to CJ Carr. So, I mean, he's doing a lot of great stuff. Right.
Great. No, that's fantastic. Malik Washington, I mean, even review the roster is like, dang, Spencer got Malik Washington. Like, so we weren't necessarily talking about. He was like, I'm just going to take this Maryland kid here and go with it. He's been phenomenal. I mean, he, again, prototypical size. All our eyes were on Keelan Russell, who's not even starting. On Bryce Underwood, who's looking good. Malik Washington's doing this thing out of Maryland, and that may be a lot of people tend to scout the helmet, so you're not really looking at those kind of assets when it comes to it. But Malik Washington is someone you need to keep an eye on because, I say it lightly, but we talk about Lamar Jackson as the best quarterback out of Maryland playing at Baltimore. Malik Washington may be the next best quarterback in Maryland right now, just the way he's playing there. And I know NFL college completely different. I'm just saying that Malik Washington does look great, and I'm excited to see how he can grow and move forward there as well. I'm curious how we won't necessarily hit on it, but I'm curious how he feels about Arts because it was a great pick. We're also possibly waiting, and really the 2027 class is looking like it's going to be possibly stronger than what the 2026 class is, just as far as the top. Arch Manning, I mean, he brought up on our last show, like he hasn't been playing bad. It's just not what we wanted. And that was the biggest thing coming into the season was with Arch Manning. If he wasn't playing at a Heisman level, he's a fade. Like that's just the hype we had. It was like, it's either he's the top college quarterback, top player in college, or he's nothing. And that's unfortunate, but I feel that's how we as the community kind of viewed it like this. You had to live up to it, man, and that's unfair on his part for us to say that. But he is playing well, and there are some things he might not be playing as Fernando Mendoza, undefeated season, looking great, but Arch Manning's young. This is his first time full time as a starter. There's a lot more to grow to happen. As long as he understands that and works on that, this is an excellent pick for him as well. So again, Spencer, I had him as the best ranked team all over, not only in the Devy Planet but overall. So great there, Spencer. But let's move back onto Devy Dojo here. We're gonna go over to your Shifu here. We're gonna go, Chris. Talk to us about this roster.
Yeah, man. He's got a lot of exciting guys here. I think that he's got some guys that if given the opportunity, they could really pop. And like I'm looking at Deuce Knight right there. Yep. With Jackson Arnold being Jackson Arnold, we could see Deuce Knight a little sooner than anticipated.
Surprised he hasn't yet, to be honest.
I mean, is it going to take Hugh Freeze getting fired? Like, right. I don't know. And then how do we project him going forward? There are a lot of question marks around him. There was a lot of weird stuff on his profile. We know the transferring up and then back down and stuff. So I am a little hesitant on him there, but he does some incredible stuff on film, man. That's just, it's truly exciting. So looking at him, Usman Kroma, another guy that's been getting opportunity there at Florida State. He's a lot of fun to watch, the physical power that he runs with. But the guy that I'm choosing for this, that I really want to hone in and spotlight, is one Mr. Katron Allen, right? If you look at his roster there, he's got a lot of Penn State guys because the Shifu's a little bit of a homer. He's a little biased there. He took almost everybody there. And so it's come around and bit him a little bit. But Katron Allen, man, I think at the start, going back to last season, I think we all kind of assumed that Katron Allen and Nick Singleton were going to go to the NFL draft. Of course, they didn't. They came back. And what we got is Singleton hasn't been able to avoid anyone, really. And Katron Allen's coming out, and he's letting us know that he's him. Let's put it in perspective. I'm gonna put some numbers out there because Katron has 98 rushing attempts compared to Singleton's 76. Katron Allen has 612 yards compared to Singleton's 274. So that's a difference of 338 more yards for Katron Allen. To really put it in perspective, SC, the now injured Drew Aller has 209 rushing yards. So he was almost up there in rushing, the same amount of rushing yards as Nick Singleton. Katron Allen, he's got 30 missed tackles on the season. That's 9th best in the Power 4. I did the math, which is hard for me, right? I'm an English major. Math is a little tough for me sometimes. That equals out to a 0.31 missed tackles forced per attempt. So to break that stat down, that means that on 30% of his runs, he's forcing a missed tackle, which is just incredible. My guy, the Shinobi at the dojo, we've established a 0.30 missed tackles forced mark as elite. So he's hitting that elite benchmark for us right there. And then when you turn on the film, man, it shows a guy that has put it all together now. I think Katron Allen has always had really good vision, but now he's blending it with the smoothness and like the intelligence in his run, the ability to set up blocks down the field. Like he's putting it all together. And I'm thinking he's like one of those early day 2 running backs. And I'm looking at this 2026 running back class, and I'm really impressed. And I'm really liking the running back class here coming up.
No, Herm said I actually, I was lucky enough to have the Shifu join me on my Devy DJ show on Monday, and he actually took Katron, saying that he's a top guy for him in the sense of the running back class too, just because of what he's able to do. And as you mentioned, we were Nick Singleton, Katron, they were kind of going hand in hand. Katron's really overstepped Nick Singleton, saying, "Hey, look, I'm the guy that needs to be watched at," and could go as early as an early day 2 pick, and he's someone that's going to be really that big brother sense that he's going to take away some touchdowns from a guy. He's going to be the next David Montgomery. Put him. What if he goes to Detroit and David Montgomery is gone? Now you have Jamar Gibbs and Katron Allen. That's going to be a beautiful combination there. And that I think that'll be a fantastic fit for him. I do want to highlight before we move on here, Shakai Mills Knight. This is a freshman guy. I'm calling all the freshmen out. This is a guy though that once he gets on the field, I think if you're able to grab him now, with your Devy rosters, go get him. I think this is a guy that's going to be phenomenal. You mentioned Usman Kroma being a big physical back. That's what Shakai Mills Knight is. He's not going to be 1,000-yard rusher, I don't think, but he's going to be someone that gets you consistently 600-700 yards, just gets it physical, wears down the defense, and then punches it in as well. So that's a guy I'm really liking here, but I do enjoy his roster overall, and I think it does look good here. So
for sure,
good pick there. Where'd you have him as far as the dojo there?
for the grades there.
Yeah.
I had Chris at a 3, a
Okay.
3 flat.
Nice. Nice. We'll do our full power rankings at the end there as well for our planet and for the dojo here. Let's go on to the next guy here for the Devy Planet, though. It's going to be my guy, Tom Harvey. He's my co-host on Mondays at the Devy DGens. Again, another stellar roster. I mean, he hit on some guys or some guys he the next day didn't hit on that, we'll see. Like Nate Frazier, I think is someone that's kind of, I put him as a slower end asset now just because he's losing some touches there and it's not looking as big as what we thought it was. I'll highlight Sawyer Robinson, though, because this is a guy that he was super high on coming in and rightfully so. Sawyer Robinson is leading the nation in yards right now, just over 2,200, I do believe. Strong arm, physical type of quarterback, big prototypical size. Baylor doesn't, they have a winning record, but it's not a pretty one, but they're still in contention. He's still someone that I think he could honestly be a first round pick, and that's going to be money if it ends up happening for him, because anytime you get that first round quarterback, it's always great. But Robinson has really adjusted. He's learned how to slow down the game. He's understanding how to hit his marks even better down the field at every level of the field. Again, strong arm, but can throw with bullets, hit his guys in the flats, hit his guys down deep. Everything you're seeing in this game, he plays with confidence and knowing, hey, I am the guy here to go out there and do it. So absolutely love that pick there for him. And then another guy we'll talk about here, I got to bring it up because he was mine and Tommy's QB1 in Devy.
There we go.
DJ Lagway. You got to talk about it. Again, this is where we can get wrong. And as we just said, the 2026 class, guys that are talking about in the first round, a lot of us weren't talking about them. Lagway, we were talking about him as a first round quarterback. He has a lot to make up now to be able to do that. I do have hope for him and Dallas Wilson. It is looking a little bit better, but there is a lot more ground to play. He seemed like he got rattled when he was getting sacked. He seemed like he was lost sometimes in the backfield. Was it against Texas? I think he threw 5 interceptions. There's some bad games that he has had where it's like, all right, look, when you have these mistakes, you got to be in that short-term memory for a quarterback and saying, go off the field, forget about it, come back on and deliver. Lagway hasn't necessarily done that this whole season. We need to see a lot more from him. Maybe it's watching the tape. Maybe it's just studying the playbook even further. I don't know necessarily what it is. I love me some DJ Lagway, but when it's coming to a Devy asset, he is someone that's quickly falling. And it's very hard because as we had him ranked so high, it's hard to adjust that value to say what you spent on him. You're not getting that back right now, so it's kind of worth the hold. If you're in shorter leagues, though, he's kind of that clogger in your roster where it's like, man, he's probably the guy you're thinking about dropping, but it's very hard to do so. Any thoughts on any of those guys?
Yeah, DJ Lagway, I was right there with you. He was my QB1 in Devy. Over the course of the offseason. Of course, one of the first episodes that we did for the dojo was the color belt tier rankings, and I had him as a black belt, which is our highest. That means we're translating you to be a first round top end pick. And we're going to do an updated ranking, and I don't want to spoil anything, but he's much lower now. It really does hurt. I had to offload some of him over the course before, because I just wasn't sure. I had so much that in my portfolio, I just wanted to diversify a little bit. So around week 3, I did sell DJ Lagway for John Mateer and Isaac Brown.
Oh,
we'll see how that looks over the course of time. But DJ Lagway, I just want him to get a coach that's really going to be able to properly develop and have him use his skills. If he doesn't hit the transfer portal, I don't think he does. I think he stays in Florida, but I really just want to see that coach that can really nurture and bring him along, because the talent's there, right? He the arm angles that he's able to throw with, the velocity on his throws, all the things, the prototypical size, he has everything that you look for. It's just some of that mental stuff, which of course is reminiscent of a young quarterback still, so let's give the guy some time. I know we're all ready to kick him to the curb and move on to the next big thing, but let's give the guy some time. A quarterback that I loved on this roster, though, one of your guys, man, he's a duck. Dante Moore, man. Dante Moore. Let's talk about him a little bit, because I don't know of anybody that was really as high on Dante Moore as us. But what I love about him, man, was just the adversity that he shaped him, right? On the dojo, I talk a lot about what you go through molds you. Going from UCLA, throwing 3 straight games with a pick 6, to where he is now, taking the time to learn the Wilstein offense. I'm just so proud of the kid. That Penn State game was huge. He showed me that he has a functional mobility that I wasn't really sure that he possessed in his game. Able to roll out in the pocket, extend plays, keep his eyes downfield. hit the guy for essentially the game-winning touchdown. That's
Right.
stuff that I love to see. I think his stock has gone down a little bit over the last couple games, but he's still being talked amongst some of like a potential first-round quarterback still. So the fact that Tommy got him pretty late also factors into this for me. It was an excellent pickup.
Yeah, just shout out on Dante Moore because you brought up the Penn State game. I feel that meant more as a win than losing at home to Indiana did as a loss. Like it meant more going to Penn State in a whiteout game that have you where the whole stadium's filled with white, and he goes in there and leads the Ducks to a victory. Meant more than losing at home to a top team in Indiana, just because things happen. Sometimes let's go best of 7, Indiana versus Oregon. What's it gonna shape out like, right? Sometimes it's not your week. It wasn't their week there. You can say the same thing about Penn State, but then Penn State went and lost 2 more games, right? So there's a lot of different things that can happen there. But I agree with you. The versatility or the adversity that he's battled is phenomenal. And honestly, when he came in as a freshman, this was a guy that we had as QB1. Him, Malachi Nelson. Malachi Nelson's completely dropped off. Where Dante Moore has climbed back up to be at the top, to be a guy that we need to be talking about more. So absolutely love that pick. And, the Wilstein offense, we're seeing it right. It's happening right in front of us. They're developing guys to get ready for that that next level. And that's what we love to see there. So great pick by Tommy there. He was actually my number 2 ranked in the planet there. So phenomenal rank there for Tommy. Let's go on to our third guy here in the dojo. We're going to go over to Shinobi, the newest member of the dojo for y'all. And Shinobi Josh, talk to us about his roster.
This is my highest ranked roster on the Devy side. I gave him a 6.75 grade. And I was trying to be pretty critical because I was like, that's too damn high. but it's good. I'm a tough grader, man. I absolutely love this roster, man. It's our crown jewel, Mr. Shinobi, Josh Hawkins here. Did an excellent job constructing this bad boy. Like I said, I got a lot of players that I like, but once again, I'm factoring in the explosive rise in value that we've seen in this player. And I'm talking about none other than Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy.
Yes, sir.
Talking about a guy that got 0 D1 offers. He ran the freaking wing T offense in high school, man. But now after that explosive season at Louisiana Monroe, right, he was 3rd in the country in missed tackles forced, only behind Ashton Genty and Cam Scatabo. And now, look, he transfers to the SEC, and the question over the course of the offseason was, can he maintain that level of play against legit SEC competition? And the answer is a resounding yes, absolutely he can. He's leading the Power 4 in missed tackles forced. Just incredible value for him. Somebody that I'm now projecting as 2027 RB1.
Yeah, absolutely.
I comp him. Tell me what you think about this comp, SC. I haven't ran it by very many people. I comp him to Mark Ingram. Just that physical running style. Yeah. What do you think of that?
I love it. I will say I think he's a little bit more twitchy than Mark Ingram, but the strength, I can see that because he could be that bowling ball type of back that is just great after contact balance is there. Like it's hard to take him down. You need 3 or 4 guys just to bring him down. So Mark Ingram, if we go back to his Alabama days, that's really what he was, just that type of physical, fast, wear down the defense type of guy. And that's exactly what Hardy's doing at Missouri. And their line isn't necessarily the greatest either, but he's still making it happen. And that's a good comp. I like it.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, look, and then he got Bryce Underwood. Fernando Mendoza is another big riser. Justice Haynes. Vernell Brown is another freshman there at Florida that's been playing incredible. So just really like this roster, man. He had a lot of hits on it. But one that I am going to fade now, and I got to be a little like Jerome Miles, right? Another freshman that was coming in for Texas A&M. We had high hopes for him, but he had those injuries going back to high school. And now he's out for the season with another injury. Devy's a dirty game. I played long enough to see the signs of a prospect that, the things just aren't lining up. And so, unfortunately, I got to cut ties, and I'm completely out on him. Like, it's just too much at this stage.
No, I think that's fair with Jerome Miles. That's unfortunate. I mean, obviously, we're not talking now. Let's say we hope he comes back healthy and he balls out. And again, every time we talk about a guy that's a paying asset, prove us wrong. That's the biggest point. It's like, prove us wrong that you're not that. But we got to adjust, right? We're playing our own game. It has to be adjusted. So I agree with Jerome Miles there. Before we move on to our next Devy Planet here, do want to highlight 2 guys. Jordan Lyle was a guy I thought was going to come out here and just do big work for Miami with Mark Fletcher there. He got injured. We had Samar Brown come in. Samar Brown's looked a little bit better than Lyle. Lyle's kind of taking a step back. So I'm curious to see what his progression is going to be like if he potentially transfers out or what's going to happen there with Lyle. But then TJ Moore, Brian Wesco, if I'm not mistaken, is out for the season. If I think,
Yeah,
right,
he is.
he's out for the season.
Spinal injury.
Antonio Williams been banged up. TJ Moore has an opportunity now to grow further his Devy value because it was sinking a little bit with the explosion that Brian Wesco was happening.
Yeah.
Now no longer TJ Moore, you're the guy up in Clemson. So I'm gonna be curious to see what this is because this could be someone that was a fading asset. 2-3 weeks ago, he was like, all right, I'm moving him completely off like the top board of the 2027 wide receiver class. Now he has the opportunity to say, all right, I need to be the guy to step up and come here and do it. But I agree with you. This is actually my highest ranked for the dojo as well. I mean, you look at it top to bottom, he has guys that are hitters. We all have guys that are fading, so I'm not concerned about that. I'm looking at, all right, who are guys that are day one starts in the NFL? We can talk about Underwood, Mendoza, Haynes, Hardy. You can say TJ Moore even if you want to. You could bring up Cunningham when that time comes. Morris is looking good with his opportunities. He has a stacked roster when it's coming down to it. And honestly, if all these guys continue the trajectory they're on, we're in trouble because his roster is going to be nice in the future as well. So,
yeah, that Jacory Barney too, man.
Oh yeah,
just a lot of good stuff there in Nebraska. So.
Oh yeah, and Rayola's with him as well, and that's someone that's going to continue to grow there as well. So love it. Draylon Miller, even. I mean, that's not a bad one either. That's someone that has some potential. So great overall one there for our Shinobi there. Now let's go on to our next Devy Planet here. We're gonna go over to our guy JT Orange. This one had a lot of ones, so I will say, JT, I love you, my guy. He's one of my favorite guys I do shows with. He was my lowest ranked Devy Planet roster. I will say when he was drafted, there were multiple times where like, hey, make sure you draft these Devy guys. He was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm taking my pro guys, doing it. He's doing good on the pro side, and I get it. His Devy guys, not so much. So let's talk about some faders here. Garrett Nussmeier has to be one we talk about. It's just someone that maybe it's an injury that's been lingering. He's been playing through it. Maybe it's just he isn't what we thought it was. It just doesn't look like the Nussmeier we expected to come in. We expected him to excel further with the roster that he has, do great things with it, and it just hasn't been looking up to it. His throwing mechanics have looked completely different than what they did the year prior. It looks like he's kind of rattled in the pocket, like he's not playing standing straight, looking up, and all these good things you see in a pro quarterback that plays with confidence in the pocket. It really looks like he's shaking, and there's something we don't know is what I'm getting to when it comes to Nussmeier, because when we're watching the tape, it's like this isn't the same guy we really saw last year. So it's really confusing, but he has to be one of the biggest fades outside the club at the quarterback position when it's talking about. I mean, LSU, a team that just ran the Natty not too long ago, a team that looked great, looked better with his core coming around him, and it just hasn't really clicked for Garrett Nussmeier. You named him the Gumbo Gunslinger, right? That was a great, fantastic nickname for him.
Yeah.
And the gunslinging just hasn't been there right now. He's just been Gumbo, you know? So, on the flip side, any thoughts? It feels like you might have some thoughts. So,
I mean, I'm always going to be able to talk about Garrett Nussmeier. Yeah. I defended him like he was my own son against Chev. Because Chev, when he watches this, he calls him Nutsmeier. You know, he's been a big hater, and like I said, I defended him like he was my son. I was like, nah, Garrett Nussmeier is going to go out there and smash. He's going to be one of the top picks. And you know, he switched the number and lost all of his superpowers. Right? He got that vaunted number 18 number that shows that you're a leader in the program. And I don't know if he's playing with an injury or what, but he's thrown a lot of low ADOT stuff. And Garrett Nussmeier's superpower was always the vertical game, right? Gumbo gunslinger. Let me go and throw it deep. And we projected in the offseason that with all the speed that he has, those weapons, man, it was going to be all day, just deep shots. And it's a lot of low ADOT stuff, some screens. LSU's still not able to get the running game going, which was a component that I felt was missing in their offense. I said, well, of course, third down, second down, everybody knows what LSU was going to do last year. They were going to put the ball in Garrett Nussmeier's hands and ask him to go win the game. And I think they've tried to be a little more balanced offensively, and it just hasn't worked out for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. One day we're going to find out the answers. Maybe it's a medical thing. Maybe it's a loss of confidence. I don't know. But it's really hurts. And speaking of a guy that is just fallen off the face of the earth, I'm looking at Jaden Knott right there. And that's another guy that, I mean, you know, transferring from Cal, I thought this was just slated to be a really good hand and glove fit in the Ben Arbuckle offensive system, and he hasn't even played, dude. Like, I think he's had like 3 carries on the season. I had to grade him as a dead asset here, so that's a guy. Unfortunately, I gotta grade pretty harshly there.
No, I mean, again, that's what we're doing here, and that's another one where it's like at this point, it's not that I'm asking him directly, but like, what was your reason of staying? Because I felt you had a great season last year where you could have came out, maybe you're not a day 2 capital, maybe you're day 3, but we know the running back position, day 3 is not bad capital. A lot of them go in day 3 and they still got to do good. Round 4, round 5. You can't even talk about some round 6 guys. I mean, we have Kyle Monogamy at Chicago, round 7, looking good for Chicago now, right? So I'm curious on what his thought was. It NIL money? Was it? I don't know. Again, it's not a direct question. It's just like I'm curious on what it was. To say, let me go back for another year, but let me transfer at that as well. Let me not stay in the program. Let me transfer out. Before we move on to our next Devy Dojo, I do want to highlight Keywan Lacey out of Ole Miss.
Sir, good job.
This was someone that I did enjoy. He actually transferred out of Missouri. Ahmad Hardy transferred in. Keywan Lacey transferred out. Went to Ole Miss, and he's really looking great. This is a back that I feel before the season we weren't talking enough about, but he's showing very good elusiveness, and his ability to find the open holes. His vision is phenomenal. He's leading Ole Miss in rushing right now. He's one of the top leaders in the nation when it comes to rushing. He is just looking great, and he's a guy that not every time he's running with his shoulders down, he runs a little bit vertical, if you will, but he's also very speedy, very agile, and again, it's the vision that really sets him apart because he's can get small when he needs to between the line, but he also knows where his gaps are. He's hitting them quickly, smoothly, and then he's gone. And that's exactly what Ole Miss needs for them, especially we talk about Austin Simmons or Trinidad Chambliss going in there. Keywan Lacey's really someone that can set the tone in what he's doing for the running game. I mean, you shut down Keywan, you may shut down the offense, but no one's been able to really shut him down. So absolutely great pick there, but again, JT, my guy, you were a little later on some of the Devy guys. So I did rank you as the lowest one here. So, but
yeah,
still,
Keywan Lacey was a good pick. I love him. I wrote about him in my latest Substack article. One of the leaders in missed tackles force, man. He's just doing it all. I think Ole Miss definitely needed a guy like that. Little reminiscent of when Quinshon Judkins was there in Ole Miss to me. Yeah. Lane Kiffin really needs those running backs, and he knows how to find them. So love it.
Quinshon we know was phenomenal, but I mean Keywan Lacey. The way he's playing, like I'm not gonna say forget about Quinshon, but I mean now he's at the pro. You gotta say Keywan's looking really good. So I mean, you didn't really miss much there. So I love it. Ty Simpson too, obviously a riser there. We won't go much in detail, but Ty Simpson's looking as possible. We took him in the first round when me and Chris Yoshifu there did 2026 first round rookie mock. Ty Simpson won the first, so definitely some value there. Let's go on to our next guy. This is a guy that you say is not a fan of Nussmeier though. The next guy at the dojo, Chev. So let's talk about his roster.
Yes, sir. I gave Chev a 0.25, so he's right there with me, a little lower. Me and him, I had graded pretty low there. He took a lot of stabs at a little like some less known guys, I think, and we'll see if it pays off. But a guy that I do want to highlight there is Lenore Sellers. Yeah. Look, he's another guy that this quarterback class he's just not having the year that we anticipated, which makes me think that he might stay another year at school before entering the NFL draft. But SC, the talent is still there. I think he still obviously possesses the big arm. He's got that legit Konami upside. Even though the rushing numbers this season haven't really been gaudy up to this point, like compared to last season. But I found it interesting that he's still forced 28. He has 28 missed tackles forced, which, I mean, that's a respectable number even for running backs at this point. But I think the concern with Lenore Sellers is the same that it was last year. I'm not convinced about the talent around him. A lot of times, like, they just leave me wanting. You flip on the all-22 and you're like, why is Lenore Sellers holding on to the ball so long? He needs to get rid of it. And you flip on the all-22 and you see these wide receivers are getting zero separation, right? When your number one wide receiver is Nick Harbor, who, look, I like Nick Harbor as a projection, but if that's your number one wide receiver, then you're probably in some trouble because he doesn't do a lot of the technical stuff in order to gain that separation truly. So do have some concerns about there. Obviously, the time to throw, like I said, is really high with him. I think some of those numbers are a little skewed because he has to scramble around and try to make a play, right? How many times have we seen that where he's just running around in the pocket, stiff arming dudes, getting past him, shaking them, and then making a big play down the field? So, some concerns there for sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, the North Stars, I know Spencer likes him as well, very high. I faded him a bit, but it's really because of what you were saying, and I love that you brought up the All-22 because that's when we talk about watching film, we're not going to watch highlight tapes. We're not going to watch just the game over. We're sitting back, we're watching All-22s. We see all the field, so it comes down to even more than just watching the player. Okay, what are these players doing when we're not paying attention? When the ball's not going to, Brian Wesco, what's he doing on the field there? Still, what is he adjusting? Is he making the blocks? Is he going to get the block for his running back that's running the ball? Norris the same way, though. When his wide receivers aren't getting open, what is he doing? Is he holding the ball too long? At times, I feel he runs when he's not supposed to, where there are guys open. And then on the flip side, he holds the ball when it's like you should be running. Like, just get out the pocket there and make it happen, right? We have a guy here from Galaxy Pickers. He said, I'm 5-1, 13-team league. That's a weird number. Trade Baker for May. Also at Bo Nix, trying to plan the rest of the season. Baker's weapons hurt. Has me worried. We'll answer this here. Trade Baker for May. I mean, yeah, Bo Nix. Why not? I don't think it's, let's say, that bad. I think you'll start Bo Nix over May and Baker when it comes down to it. Any thoughts here, though, for the rest of the season, getting away from Baker?
I mean, if he's worried about that, then I have no problem with it. I think Drake May, you're going to get a little younger if you're playing in Dynasty there.
Right.
But I mean, Drake May's balling too. Like you turn on some of the advanced stats, even his big time throws, he's right there. And I mean, I called him baby Josh Allen before his draft, and he's really looking like that. I mean, he went into Buffalo and beat them too. So I have no issues with it, especially if you already have a guy like Bo Nix too that you can fall on. Baker's balling though, man. I mean, with or without weapons. I mean, that's something you do have to consider.
I will be curious. Galaxy, let us know, is this a super flex league? If so, you're running Bo Nix and May. That makes sense there. But as you mentioned, if it's single quarterback, I don't really. You can if you want. I don't think it necessarily hurts because, I mean, you're 5-1, so your team's doing well there. But, I mean, Baker is balling, and one of the guys he's balling with is an Oregon guy in Tez Johnson. So before we do, I do want to hit up an Oregon guy here. It's sad to be to say because going into the season, again, I was just –
this was mine too.
He did say just single QB. Sure. I mean, that's if you
that
want,
changes it a bit.
Yeah.
I don't think you
don't really transition. It doesn't make your team better. It doesn't make it worse. It's just – get the younger guys. So that's sure if you want to. I don't think it's that big of a deal though for the rest of the season. Mekhi Hughes, my Devy RB1 coming into the season. My 2026 RB1 coming into the season. I said he's gonna be better than Jeremiah Love. He's gonna be this, and that. He runs with power. He did great at Tulane, back-to-back 1,300-yard seasons. Mekhi Hughes is the next great Oregon back. Mekhi Hughes, RB5 on the depth chart. Mekhi Hughes losing runs to freshman De'Aaron Hill, losing goal line opportunity to freshman Jordan Davison, not getting on the field when Noah Whittington got down, not getting on the field when Jaden Lamar went down. Mekhi Hughes said, I had enough. He ended up redshirting. He's crazy. He's a god asset. And as we say, things change in the Devy community. Mekhi Hughes is one of them. And this one was super quick. Like this one, I didn't even have time to like blink. I was just like, "Wait, what? Like, why is he not happening on the field here?"
It was like week 1. He didn't even play.
Yeah,
he wasn't traveling with the team. We're like, one day there's going to be a 30 for 30 or something. We're going to get the inside scoop of what's going on.
And I was coming up with excuses. I was like, you know what? They don't need a play. They're just showing how deep they are at the position. We're going to see it happen. He's going to come out and play against Oklahoma State. Didn't happen. They still don't need him. They have so much depth. They're going to unleash him when it matters. Still not. And now he's done for this season. He's redshirting. He's hanging his cleats up. He's staying another year. I mean, there's no way he's getting, entering the draft.
No.
He's not Oregon Duck, I don't believe, next year. I mean, maybe they're saying, hey, look, I don't know. I don't see a reason why he's an Oregon Duck next year.
No, it's over there.
Yeah.
It's over there in Eugene, man.
Yeah. And so, again, some of these sevens probably going to drop at end of season. If you're in Devy, he becomes that asset where the difference between like him and Lagway is if you drop Lagway, someone could likely pick up Lagway. There's still hope there for Lagway. You could drop Mekhi Hughes, find out he transfers. Let's just throw out a random team. Let's just say he transfers to Oklahoma State. We'll just say Oklahoma State. Then he may become okay. Just like, all right, maybe he gets some opportunity. You go there to pick him up, and next thing you know, he's there. But at this point, he's a dead asset. And man, just
agreed.
Times change.
It's tough, man. Yeah, times change quick. I was entering the season saying, man, he's built for the Big Ten. Like,
yeah,
the power, like you said, but it's tough, man. Already starting at a lower level competition there with Tulane. We were excited to see if he could play in the Big Tens, but now, you know, with the red shirt, all these red flags, he's likely going to transfer again and maybe go to a lower,
right,
you know, level of competition. And then it's like, what do you even do with that from an evaluation standpoint?
Right.
It just makes it really difficult. So I'm cutting bait. You know, if he hits somewhere, great, but he's not going to be on any of my rosters.
Yeah. At this point, he becomes a practice squad person in NFL and has to work his way up, you know. And I will say before we go out, I mean, Ahmad Hardy was the same ship, and Ahmad Hardy's going off with it. I mean, what Ahmad Hardy's doing, I was like, Mekhi Hughes is going to do that definitely. Ahmad Hardy is end up doing it though. Let's move on to our next one in the Devy Planet here. That dude Danny has a great roster here as well. I mean, he's my number 3 when it comes to the Devy Planet. Let's talk about Julian Saying, because I feel some people were fading him at the beginning of the season. He's really shown out. He's really taken that next step to be a true leader for Ohio State. It's really hard to not be successful. You have the weapons around him. But I love the way he moves in the pocket. He throws from different angles, uses his hips to adjust, knows how to escape the pressure, has the awareness to know when the pressure is coming in. And I say it's easy when you have the weapons around it, but he's still going to make the throws. And he really is making those throws. He's not overthrowing. He's not underthrowing. He's hitting his guys on the money and really making it easier for him. The catch with Cardinal Tate this past week, that was a fantastic catch by Cardinal Tate, but you need the quarterback to throw that on the money. And that's what he did. He threw it on the money. Exactly. He said, I know where you're at. I know where your hands are going to be. I'm going to hit you right on there. And sure enough, he did that. Julian Saying, right now it's him and Raiola for 2027 QB1 for me. And that's assuming Arch and Lenore still push out. But Julian Saying's really making a name for himself. And again, you have Jeremiah Smith there. You have Melvin Graham. You have Quincy Porter. You have a lot of guys there. Julian Saying's looking really strong, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal Devy asset for anybody as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget he's got Quincy Porter back there too. Chris Henry Jr. coming in next year. Like,
I forgot about Chris Henry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio State's always going to have a wagon full of 5-star wide receivers coming in.
Right.
But you talked about his pinpoint accuracy, man. It's not just hitting him in the numbers, but it's the ability to put it to where they're able to catch it and turn upfield and maximize that yards after catch. And that's what he does so good. And for a first-year starting quarterback in the Big Ten, it's incredible. And I love what Ryan Day has done with this guy. You know, they started him off slow. Obviously, he played against a really good Texas defense week 1.
Right.
You know, the numbers weren't anything gaudy, but I think they knew that with the defense that they have and the running game that they have, they could win these games. And they looked at it long term. Like, you can't just throw these guys and baptize them by fire and expect all of them to come out on top. You don't want them developing any bad habits. So they really structured the game plan around that to kind of protect him in a sense. But now we're starting to see them really amp it up. And I think they've started to take the training wheels off. And like you said, that throw to Carnell Tate, man, that takes some huevos there to make that throw, man. Because that's not an easy throw. That's in the end zone in double coverage, and if you're even slightly off, that's an interception, and now you just took points off the board for your team. So great call out there. I was looking at another position there. I'm looking at Hollywood Smothers for the guy that I wanted to highlight here.
Fantastic. Shout out our guy Amir. He's been pumping the guy Hollywood Smothers. That we did talk about him more, so I'm glad you're bringing him up. But yeah, great shout out for Hollywood Smothers.
Yeah, definitely shout out Amir. He's an awesome guy, really active in all of our stuff too. And I just saw his comment up here. Sorry, my friend, but Smothers, man, he's 7th in the country in rushing yards, 739, just behind Jeremiah Love. So to kind of put it in perspective there, 7th in the country with 36 missed tackles forced, and 500 of those 739 yards have actually come after contact. What I love about Hollywood Smothers is that he can perform in either zone or gap schemes, right? When you're looking at the numbers on PFF, it's right there. It's very balanced. So he's scheme versatile. He's not a one-trick pony in terms of like the run schemes there. In my mind, he's one of the top running backs in the country. he may or may not declare for the draft, but either way, he's someone that deserves more love from us in the community. I think in CFF and C2C, he's probably a little more talked about, but I don't hear very many people in Devy talking about him. So had to shout him out there. I loved that pick.
Yeah, I think when it comes to it, he's a little bit smaller size, so that could be scary. So when you think about Devy running backs, but you have to watch the tape and look at the talent. He's making the big plays happen, and he's doing it so efficiently where it's not even just give him the ball when it comes to that NC State. You know, he's going out there, he's making plays, as you mentioned, playing in different schemes, just very being active in it. And at any time, you were talking about running back earlier that I just dropped the ball. Isaac Brown actually is who you're talking about. Anytime Hollywood Suarez gets the ball, it could be a home run. I mean, that's the speed that he brings to it. And he's showing that. I think, you know, maybe not this draft, if it's next year, if he continues this trajectory as well, he's a day two guy. I really like what he can do. I think NFL teams will love him because not only can he really play in the backfield, you possibly move out on the slot with how small he is and how he could run and be effective in the open field awareness. You could possibly end up doing something like that. I will say when it comes to that dude Danny's roster, I feel he has a very top-heavy guys. You talk about saying you could bring in Smothers there. You talk about Ryan Williams, Makai Lemon there. Very top-heavy in some of those guys. And then you have some guys that are kind of middle of the pack, and then you have some guys there at the bottom there as well. Like Dane Key. I really love me some Dane Key, but there's still some hesitant there. You know, Ja'Cory Barney's a guy that's really stepping up there as well. So Emmett Mosley, a guy that I thought was going to get some opportunities, been dealing with injuries, hasn't been happening. Caleb Jackson, dead ass at that point. Deshaun Bishop, though, good running back. So good roster overall because I think it's very stacked as far as the levels on what he has. But there's definitely some heavy hitters that when they get to the league, we're going to be in trouble as well.
Yeah, very savvy manager right there.
Yes, sir. Let's go on to our next guy in the dojo here. It's going to be Benny, Mr. Big Mac. Talk to us about this one.
Yeah, man. Benny knows ball. That's his new handle that he made. And man, he sure does. He's one of my highest graded rosters here. I gave him a 4.25 off that rubric. Guy had to spotlight. I mean, he has a lot. Like, look, I'm a material guy. I love me some Demand. Jaden Baugh is somebody that's not being talked to. He's quietly having one of the most productive seasons of all the running backs in the country. But I had to hone in there on CJ Carr. And I had to spotlight him SC because that was one of my guys, and I feel vindicated, right? I called out CJ Carr very early, and I love to see him hit. So Benny, you know, Ben here, he actually sniped me in most of our drafts with CJ Carr. Jerk, man. He knew how much I loved him at any chance he got. And then he'd just, throw some gifts in the Discord or something like, I got me some CJ Carr. Look, all this stuff. So had to highlight him, man. You know, he's grandson of a legendary coach. You know that he grew up in the film room. I think that his intelligence really shows on the field there. Notre Dame is clearly a contender once again for a national championship. And you could see that they're really actually having to rely on this redshirt freshman, trusting him to make the right reads down the field, right? He's tied for 7th in the country with 13 big-time throws as a redshirt freshman. I said earlier when talking about Malik Washington, he's leading the freshmen in all of these categories. In passing yards, touchdowns, big-time throws, all of that. He's the best performing statistically, he's the best performing freshman quarterback out there. So you love to see that. Another roster that I really, really like.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say something else. No, I mean, it's a phenomenal roster. I mean, the quarterbacks, money. John Mateer, I call him Moneymaker, right? John Moneymaker Mateer. Damian Williams, don't sleep on Washington, the university, for whatever you're doing. If you're watching this, Washington is legit. Damian Williams is a reason why. You bring in Denzel Boston, John Coleman, Washington is legit. CJ Carr looking great, and a lot of people had doubts on him, but he's looking phenomenal. Jaden Baugh, phenomenal running back. Ruben Owens, someone that hesitant on, but when he's getting his opportunities, it's looking like, okay, maybe you're about it. Jordan Marshall taking a step back, sure. Then you can bring Cam Coleman, Duke Watson. We could say that asset with Isaac Brown there. Nick Anderson a little bit hurt. You know, I wasn't heavy on him. One guy I want to highlight, though, as I was just naming guys, is going to be his tight end here. It's always hard to take tight ends in a Devy league. Tanner Koizel at the University of Houston leads the team in receptions at 36, 350 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This guy is 6'7", 240 pounds. You talk about a guy that can just go out there and make some big plays happen. this is gonna be the guy. He's someone that can be blocking for you. He could possibly be a day 2 tight end. If you're in these tight end premium leagues, Tanner Kozal is a guy that you want to target when it comes down to it because of his ability to be a big blocker. Again, 6'7". This is a guy that you think might be a tackle, but he's a tight end. He goes out there, can get the balls, win those contested catches, really body over some defenders just because of his big frame. And then he could get some yards for you as well. Again, 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. Very nice pick. I'm very bullish on this tight end class, more so than I was last year. I like a lot of guys in this tight end class. Tanner Kozal's one where I think he could be a sleeper one. Dare I say, because he's having a big week or big past week, Rondé Gatson. A lot of people weren't big on the Rondé Gatson there. Tanner Kozal's similar size, plays a little bit kind of like Gatson. So I just would say keep a lookout for him. Great pick there.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Let's go on to our next guy here. This is going to be our last one for the Devy Planet here. And we're going to talk about my guy, J Money Sniper. Appreciate J Money coming in. I'm in many Devy leagues with him. This guy knows ball left and right. I mean, one of my favorite guys to talk Devy with. Doing some great things here. He's has some good picks here. Jeron, I didn't put his full name. Jeron Kiwi Sagabutelli. Phenomenal asset there. This is a guy that I feel more people faded him. I know I did, and this is just me being my Oregon guy. When he was like, I'm decommitting from Oregon, I was like, all right, guy, you're dead to me. But he's doing things at Cal that is looking really good, right? He's looking like he's growing. He's having his freshman pains and everything like that. But he's looking like a guy that's going out there and learning. He's from Hawaii. He's one of the top leaders in all time in passing in Hawaii. Coming out to Cal, doing some big things. He is playing phenomenal. This is an asset that I'm looking forward to on what he's going to do throughout his collegiate career. Just on how he's playing as a freshman. I mean, honestly, we just saw it happen with Dante Moore where he left, went to UCLA. Dante Moore might be leaving. Who's to say Jaron might not come back to Oregon, right? I just a lot of things that could happen, but I absolutely love it. I think that's a great pick. And really, his quarterbacks are all super young. Keelan Russell, Jeron Kiwi, Julian Lewis, all guys that have great upside and moving forward. I think it's phenomenal. Any thoughts on Jaron there?
Yeah, man, I absolutely love him. And he's another guy. We saw his value rise tremendously over the course of the season, starting there in week 1, right? Because as a freshman going into hostile environment, he just looks composed. His mechanics are excellent. And he's really flashed that downfield accuracy, the ability to place it like on the correct shoulder, down the field, along the sideline. Is something that you would expect to see from a much more experienced quarterback, not a true freshman starting in his first few games. So I think he's come down to earth a little bit in the past couple of games. He's thrown some picks, but that's to be expected. You got to ride the wave with these guys. What I like about him is the ability to process post snap, be able to make the right reads and just throw with tremendous accuracy. That's a foundational strength that you can build on. Some of the other stuff that he's struggling with right now, that's going to be corrected with experience. So I'm all in on him. He was definitely the guy that I wanted to spotlight here as well. Have you seen any crazy trades for him? Obviously, we saw Austin Ace had the DJ Lagway deal for him right off the rip.
That was the biggest one for him. I was trying to buy low for him, and that's where it was like, man,
it's hard after that.
People, I think it was on my DJ show where they asked us, would you do JKS for DJ Lagway straight up? And look, the freshman hype is real. Lagway end of the season escalated. It was like he's a winning quarterback. He's going to do these things. The freshman hype is real. I don't know if I'm doing that trade, JKS for DJ Lagway, but I definitely understand it. But again, we've seen some freshmen look great, and then all of a sudden they just fall off completely next year. So a little bit more. I don't. It's very hard to think about that trade because it's like I understand. Yeah, and that's just like I had him as QB1. I don't know if I'm trading him straight up, but you got.
It's one of those things where it's like Lagway still has the name value. I think for most people, I think he still kind of carries that artificial value. But then you got this young freshman, like a lot of times looks better than Lagway in terms of processing and stuff. So it's a tough call, man. I'm glad I didn't have to think and make that trade because that is a tough one.
I will say we'll revisit that conversation at the end of the season when I go back and watch all 22 for their games, where I'm at with JKS and Lagway to see what they're doing at that level. Before we move on to our last dojo, I do want to highlight someone that I feel we need to be talking more about a first round potential pick, and that's wide receiver Denzel Boston. As I just mentioned about Devin Williams, Denzel Boston has the potential to be a first round. I'm taking him in the first round rookie draft. I don't care what you say. Right now, he's going the back end for me as 108, 109 in that level. This is a guy that 6'3", doesn't play like an Odunze. I don't think he's as fluid as Odunze. No. He's a little bit more stiff, but he's still he's sharp. Like when he's making his cuts, it can cut you. That's how sharp he is on doing it. He's very nice, very strong, very strict when he's doing his routes. And he has the catch radius, man, to really come down and bring it down. And the concentration. I brought it up with Chris there, but one game, I'm trying to blank on who they were playing. The ball was kind of being juggled in the air when he was coming down with the defender trying to block him. He came down with it, juggled it a little bit, but brought it down. The concentration in that whole process from the air to the ground, his eyes are on the ball. He's making sure he's holding it and bringing it down so enough that the ref is saying, look, it's in my possession when I got it. That's the stuff you love to see. Not just a guy that's going up there and get it. A guy that's going to fight. A guy that's going to not lose his concentration going out for it. And that's something that I think is going to transition very well to the NFL. Has the size to be an X wide receiver. You can move him into slot if you want to. Denzel Boston, I think not only will be a 2026 rookie first round pick, he's going to be a 2026 NFL first round pick, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I love me some Denzel Boston. I think a lot of people like to knock him. They say, oh, he doesn't really gain much separation. I will push back on that every time because his separation occurs vertically, right? Yeah. That's where the separation occurs because he's one of those contested catch machines.
Right.
I comped him to Cortland Sutton just because the ability to go up for those balls, but maintain that body control while in the air and coming back down. I've seen him toe tap in the corner of the end zone before.
Yep.
And I mean, that's NFL level stuff right there. So I love the call out. I love a lot of the players in Washington, man. You talked about Damon Williams. We haven't even talked about Jonah Coleman.
Yeah.
Might have put the bag before there, but just love that offense, man. I love what they're doing there with Jetfish.
No, and one more thing on Boston, because you brought up the contested catches and his separation. There's different forms of separation to me because you can have guys that gain the yardage separation where there's a gap between the bodies, but then you have guys that can gain the separation with their hands. He has that length, the wingspan to go out there and move it, to adjust his catch radius to say, all right, I can get a yard and a half out from this guy that he's not going to touch the ball, but also make the catch. That's the kind of separation that he could bring. That catch radius is very phenomenal. Again, something that's going to be at that next level that he's really going to enjoy there. Boston reminds me of Egbuka. Okay, that's all. Egbuka I think is a little bit more savvy in his routes, but okay.
Yeah, he's a little more of a nuanced route runner, right? Able to gain the separation that way. And like to your point, man, not everybody wins that way. I always say the separation occurs vertically, right? Our separation's up here in the air. So a little bit different players, but I can see. I think he's a guy that's going to do very well in the NFL for sure. Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of people that are like, "Where did this dude Denzel Boston come from?" Right?
Well, and you could say like Egbuka, he was kind of getting faded when we talk about some of the guys in the draft class, and he's being a top guy in the draft. Boston's going to be a guy that might get faded, but might end up being the top of the class as well. Let's go on to our last Devy Dojo here. It is going to be our guy, ETDAP, who has, like you said, Washington. I mean, looking at this roster, he's pretty stacked.
Yeah, he's got a good roster.
I'm like, hold on. Yeah, okay, talk to us about this one.
Man, he's got a really good running back tandem there. Jeremiah Love, obviously, Jonah Coleman.
RB1, RB2.
Yeah, and I've been such a Jonah Coleman guy for so long. I think Spencer and I both have been just so high on him. I talk about Jonah Coleman a lot, but he dropped from 236 pounds last year, dropped all the way from that to 222, just 8% body fat. And you could truly see that added burst that he's added to his game now. I think for a bigger back last year, he still always possessed a little more wiggle in his game than you anticipate from a bigger back, right? He had some of that elusive juice. He's always been a functional receiver out of the backfield. But during spring camp, you heard the coaches, a lot of the insiders on 247 were noting that, hey, they want to make this guy the engine of the offense. They want to get him more involved in the passing game. And that's just been evident this year. I mean, he has at least 100-yard receiving game already. So I'd love to see that. He feels like he's locked in as RB2 at least in the 2026 class. And I fully expect him to get that early day 2 draft capital. Like, think where Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson went this last year. I could see him going there, maybe potentially if you get the right fit, the right team, maybe back end of the first, potentially if he continues on this trajectory. I think a lot of that's going to depend on how he tests at the combine. So, but I mean, you turn on the film, man, the production's there. Everything that you want to see out of a workhorse back, because he's actually a pretty decent pass blocker too. Like he's a willing blocker out there. He's going to keep the quarterback upright, and that's definitely going to matter to keep you on the field.
For sure. Lastly, JoJo and Cole, my content has been Trey Benson. Just the way he cuts, he kind of gives you that one step and then he's gone. Has to do with him losing that weight and adjusting that body fat there to have that explosive. Something that was there last year, just not enough, and we're seeing a lot more of it there for him. Marcel Reed, I mean, a Devy asset, I don't know. He's a little bit undersized as a quarterback, but if Marcel, I've said it, I'm going to keep saying it. If he wins out, he is the Heisman winner. You can't, even if Fernando Mendoza wins out, if Marcel Reed wins out with the schedule he has a gauntlet coming up that I don't know anyone that can win out. So if he wins out, he should be the Heisman winner. I mean, he's playing lights out. Kevin Concepcion's one of the guys he's passing to, but we're also Mario Craver looking really nice. Marcel Reed is someone that absolutely love his game, and we'll see as far as Devy asks. But if you're in CFF, hopefully you got him.
Oh, he's smashing in those formats.
And then I do want to highlight again tight ends. I'm very high on this class. Kenan Sadiq, Eli Stowers, two guys that I feel can be talked about as a tight end one for the class. Michael Trey can be in there as well, but Kenan Sadiq, Eli Stowers, both looking like heavy assets. I'm personally trying to move into the second so I can get some more picks for him as well, because I think in just regular dynasty drafts, because I think they're going to be guys that you're going to be loving taking those. Michael Smith out of South Carolina, guy you need to be watching out for as well. So he has nice class. I really like his running backs are strong. Wide receivers, I can fade them. And then you have a strong tight end. So I actually have him ranked pretty high there as well. But overall, phenomenal there as well. Was there anyone else you were wanting to talk about on that roster?
Jacoby Lane. He's another guy. He sat out a little bit with injury this season, but he's added a lot more to his game, and it's not really being talked about enough. I've seen him sink his hips. He had a corner with a nice double move the other day too. Unfortunately, my Ava didn't see it, but again, when you pull out that all 22, you start to see these things. And of course, he's just a contested catch monster. We all remember the one-handed catch that he had. He sunned the dude. He's like, get down, you're too small out there. They actually framed that picture and they put it in the Coliseum now. So he's always going to be part of some Trojan lore there. So I just have to spotlight him, because with the rise of Mekhi Lemon and just how well Mekhi's played, and without Jacoby Lane being there, I think that people, kind of sleeping on him a little bit. But I anticipate going forward, I think we're going to be getting him the ball a little more. And I say we, because I am part of it, right?
Yeah, there you go. USC, I know. And a big blow with Wayward Jordan, but was it really? I mean, King Miller looking really nice as well. So
what a story.
It's crazy because like USC and Washington have been playing so great that they've been unranked. And I'm like, there's teams that they're definitely better than that are ranked. Like, I just don't understand where the hate's coming from for both of them. I told you before the season I didn't have USC ranked, and again, we talked about all episode on things I was wrong on. That was one thing I'm wrong on. Like, they've been out there balling. Mekhi Levins is looking like a stellar athlete. Waymon Jordan, King Miller coming in, Jacoby Lane when he is healthy. USC's nice. Washington's super nice. And to be honest, there's probably about 15 teams that are ranked that they can beat. So they need to be higher, in my opinion, both those teams.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they lost to Notre Dame. So I think that was kind of like an elimination game almost for playoff contention. So we'll see. I think Mayava needs some more love, though. Yeah,
for sure. I believe it too. I mean, he's someone that, again, he transferred over and he's really looking like the athlete. He transferred over from UNLV, I'm not mistaken, to go in there, and he's really got the spotlight more on him being at USC, and I agree. More talks about him too. That's what he's doing. That wraps it up for our roster previews. We hope y'all enjoyed it in our reviews for him. Again, in the Devy world, we make mistakes, and it could be just lack of playing time. We talk about Mekhi Hughes, injuries happen, guys rise that we didn't even highlight at the beginning of the season, guys fade that we were all over. A lot of things happen at Devy. You have to be very versatile, very understanding, and you have to adjust when you're doing it. That's why in all Devy leagues, and this one I don't, But in all Devy leagues that are the shorter ones, 5-7 man rosters, I recommend having some sort of add drop system. This one, not so much. We will keep the Devy pool very full. So we're not allowing that. Again, 15, 20-man rosters don't necessarily need that. But I do think that's something that should be happening. Before, Dustin, two things before I let you go. One, let's do our rankings for the dojo and the planet. And then two, I'll let you give a shout out to let us know what's happening in the Devy dojo. But for the Devy Planet, Spencer, I had to bring him up. I thought he had a stellar team. Top to bottom, I think he has a phenomenal team there. He has the best one on there. Then I'm going to bring up my guy, Tommy. I think he had the second best team. Again, top to bottom, you have guys that hit on every single level. Then it came down to, I'm looking at that dude, Danny. Again, someone, the quarterback and Julian said he hit on Hollywood Smothers. Ryan Williams, Makai Lemon leading that way. Strong wide receiver group for him as well. I gave myself number 4. I have a lot of dead assets. Let's just be real. And that's really what dragged me down, I feel like, in there. Then I brought in my guy, Jay Money. Someone that, he took some heavy hits. Younger quarterbacks, we need to see a lot more from still. Some wide receivers that are either dead or they have sleeper potential there. And then last but not least, where is he at here? My guy, JT Orns. His pro team's really nice, but we're not talking about the pro team. We're talking about the Devy team. So his Devy team became the last one. He was the last ranked Devy roster in all of the league for me, but for Devy Planet, he was last as well. What about yours? Let's do your Devy Dojo ranks.
Okay, well, I didn't actually put them in order. I just had the numbers there, but I can pretty much go off memory here. So I know number 1 would be Mr. Shinobi, Josh Hawkins here. I gave him a 6.75. Just top to bottom on this Devy roster was just incredible.
Yeah.
You see all the hits that he has on quarterback. He took some really nice stabs at running back late, and it's really just come back to really look good there. Sure. Number 2, I believe I had right here, Mr. Benny. Benny knows ball. I gave him a 4.25. Love this roster. Again, we talked about the quarterbacks there, the running backs. All around really good roster because he listened to me and he took all of my guys. So when I'm complimenting Ben, just know I'm complimenting me, really. That's what that is.
I love that my guys watch the shows. I'm also like, don't watch it. Like, I'm doing these things.
Just let me take my guys. Right. Just let me take my guys. And then third here, I got Mr. E.T. Dapp there. We just talked about him. I actually have the same ranking of 4.25. That running back tandem, Love and Coleman, looks like he's going to meet with the proximity to the draft. Like these two look like high-end future dynasty assets there. So had to give him a shout out for there. Of course, a little weak in the wide receiver room, but I think he definitely made up for it with those other positions.
Nice.
After that, let's go to Mr. Shifu. I gave him a 3. Penn State really came to hurt him here, right? He took Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, Quentin Martin Jr., who hasn't even really played at all. I think he has 3 snaps. He's relegated to special teams. So I think that's really what hurt him. But he's got some young guys, like I talked about, that I think are really going to blow up. I labeled them as sleepers according to the rubric. So we'll see if they blow up there. After that, I would have Mr. Chev Doer, 0. Oh, actually, I apologize. I am higher than him. I'm 0.75. So I'm not in last. Sorry, Chev. So I'm not in last. I came here, with some high expectations. Some of these quarterbacks, Cade Klubnik, I thought he was a locked-in top 5 NFL draft pick. Austin Simmons was a guy I wouldn't shut up about all offseason. I really thought in that Lane Kiffin offense, I love these southpaw slingers, man. Yeah. Just anybody with some power. And I really thought that I was going to see it in him, and we just didn't. I got some young guys that could hit though with Son Longstreet there. Yeah. So that really helped me out. But poor Chev here. Mr. Chev Doer Sanders, Chev GPT here. Gave him 0.25. Pretty rough roster. Some of the guys that he took just didn't pan out. Yeah. I'm not entirely, me and him go back and forth on Gunnar Stockton. I'm not convinced about Gunnar Stockton yet either. Obviously, Mekhi Hughes, that really hurts you. Rashawn Parker is another guy that just didn't hit like we thought. He's got a lot of guys like that. I think Bryant Wesco, if before the injury, he probably would have been a guy that I profiled as the highest one. Spinal injury. Sounds like he avoided anything too serious. It's not like a Justin Ross situation, but he's out for the whole year, and that just really hurts for a guy that looked like he was truly taking over.
Oh yeah, I started moving up towards that, above Williams and even Cam Coleman there with how nice he was looking. Jake here, let me pull this up real quick and let me just get to Jake's question real quick. He says, currently in a rough spot, so wondering if I should trade Pickens for Odunze for this week would do to a better matchup. Who do you like the rest of the season? Odunze. That to me is easily Odunze. I think if you can trade Pickens for Odunze, go and do it. Don't think twice, smash accept. That's what I
Yep. I agree. Especially with CD back.
Right. So there you go, Jake. I appreciate you joining in. For all the people joining in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Dustin, always a pleasure doing a show with anyone from Devy Dojo, especially you as the sensei of the Devy Dojo. Let people know what the Devy Dojo is all about and where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Devy Dojo, man. We're just I talk about all the time about keeping both sides of the blade sharp, right? We're talking analytics film, we're talking dynasty side, and of course the Devy side. So really just previewing all these guys. I've really tried to make myself available to people who are newer to the format. I've seen a lot of people join my Discord, even some people that join this league, they're really new to the format. Just trying to make it something that's accessible and readily available for these new guys. And I just love teaching people, right? That's one of my great passions in life here and outside of here. So definitely try to make that what we're all about. But if you want to find our work, of course, just you could see my name there at Empire Elite FF. That is my Twitter handle. If you go into my profile, I have a link tree with everything that I'm working on, right? We got links to the actual audio podcast. We have links to the YouTube. We have links to the Substack and to the Discord, which are all free, by the way. So if you feel like tapping in and rocking with us at the dojo, we'd love to have you.
There you go. Well, I definitely appreciate you, and I definitely second everything he says, man. The Devy Dojo has been doing great. I love what you are doing with the Sensei, with the Shifu, with Shinobi, with all the people in the Devy Dojo Discord as well. I'm part of that as well. Tons of conversation going on. Great guys, and they know what they're talking about. This isn't me just hyping up a guest. I mean, they know what they're talking about. I'm learning stuff from them. So keep it up, man. I absolutely love everything y'all do there. The Devy Dojo, growing. And with the Substack coming in, make sure I'm doing that. I'm reading these articles, and it's looking very nice for y'all. So keep it going. But for everyone at the FFU, for our guys adjusted rank, Jeremy, for our Dynasty Dogs, Mike and Rich, for Jesse, who does our Saturday and Sunday shows, for my guy Spencer, who's taking some time off right now, we appreciate everyone that's joining in. Until next time, stay true. Watch college football on Saturdays. Stay warm as it's getting colder as well. And we will see y'all next time. Thank y'all.
FFU. FFU.